All right, hello everyone. First, I'll apologize for the monotone and the black and white slides. I'm sure it's enthralling. So in our last video, we were just introducing the Gila argument research essay. So we're going to start the process as well. We're going to get you start thinking about your topics and your ideas and what you want to explore. And so this is essentially about essential questions and how to use inquiry to guide your research. So I think a lot of times you're given the essential question or you're given the task. And I think we are going to be working through a research process from beginning to end where you have the majority of the control over what you're doing, and this is the start of that process. So the idea is what is an essential question? And the essential question directs the course of your research. It's essentially a powerful directive. It commits you to the process of critical thinking through the inquiry, right? So the whole purpose is that you do the research to answer this essential question. And there are subsidiary questions and stuff as well. And those are the more factual, easy to answer ones. But yours is going to be broader, that you're going to have to do a couple of things it says down at the bottom, the tasks that you're going to have to accomplish. So anyway, so it will require you to craft a response that involves knowledge construction, and that's really what we're trying to do. We're not just trying to regurgitate, we're trying to create something, which occurs through the integration of discrete pieces of information obtained during the research process. Excuse me. An essential question is going to require you to accomplish two things. Essentially, develop a plan or course of action, and also require students to make a decision. So in your research process, you're going to have to develop a whole plan, a whole process that you're going to go through, and then you're going to have to make a decision, right? What position are you going to take? How are you going to refine it and qualify it? How is this going to be developed into a cohesive argument? So an essential question is not a simple answer, right? It can't be answered with a yes or no. It's not a question that can be answered in one sentence. And it's also not really broad in general that would result in an unfocused argument. Ultimately, we're comfortable in generalities because we don't have to commit ourselves too much, but it's the exact wrong approach for analysis and argumentation. So what you're going to want to do is make sure you have a really specific and focused and essential question that will help you to have a very specific and focused position. We talked about that as incorporating the multiple topics in the last video. And I think that might be a good way to pick some of the topics that you're interested in and have that be something that's crafted, something original and unique. So what is an essential question? We already said it guides your research. It'll give your research frame and focus, so you're not just looking up one simple topic or one broad topic. It should be clear and concise, and I think I would add specific to that as well, as we've been talking about. And it tells your audience what your project is going to address. It is a question that's arguable from multiple points of view and will result in opportunities for multiple arguments and counter-arguments. And that is going to be a requirement of this assignment, is that you do incorporate counter-argument. So you're going to have a definitely arguable position. So how do you write a good essential question? You want to consider the focus of your project. And so you want to think about what topics are you interested in, how might they combine in an interesting way, and think about then what is the key concept that must be addressed, right, within your curriculum. And we are talking argument for sure, but we're also talking about, Henrietta Lacks. What is your thinking about that topic? Which of the things that were being explored that we've kind of already introduced a little? So it really should be topics that you're interested in, that you want to explore, because you're going to spend some time with us and you don't want to kind of pick something that you're just whatever, it'll work. So it says utilize the typical 6 queries that newspaper articles address: the who, what, where, when, why. You might notice the who, what, where, and when, maybe not always what, but they tend to be those factual answers. They might be good for your subsidiary questions, but how and why questions are really powerful. Right? They require an explanation. They require an examination that goes more in depth than just when did Henrietta Lacks die? Right? So we kind of want to think about trying to incorporate how and why questions, and then combine multiple topics in order to create a complex question. So it could be a couple topics. It could be 3 topics. I wouldn't go too much more than that, but you can always run by your essential questions with me. Okay, so once you've got your essential question, then you have to start thinking about what are the questions I'm going to need to answer through my research that will help me answer the bigger question. And those are called subsidiary questions. So you want to think about related questions that will help you answer that essential question. There's subcategories maybe you might think about, like if you're talking about incorporating race, ethics, and medicine, right? You might start thinking about, one, what kind of ethics are we looking at? What are we talking about? I have some resources for you with that. And then what role does race play in ethics? So you might look at that, and then connect those ideas. So there's a lot of different approaches that you can take here. But ultimately, these would be you thinking about, okay, what do I need to know to be able to answer my essential question and take a position on that topic? Some example essential questions, some of the how or why. How's technology changing personal relationships and communication, right? So you're not going to be able to answer that easily, right? How are advances in science and technology affecting the way we define our humanity? Again, big question, not simple. What is the relationship between freedom and responsibility? That's a what question that could go a long way. Why do humans continue to travel for leisure when science has proven that it has a negative impact on the environment, right? Again, try to figure out how do we answer that broader question and create an argument around it, okay? So the process would be to find your topic, review your double entry journals, consider what topics keep grabbing your attention, how do the examples illustrate the topic, what topics do you not see reflected in your double entry journals that you find interesting, how will you narrow down your topic or topics? You can write several essential questions, and once we start researching, you can go, you know what, this is the one I really want to focus on, that's fine. What topics do you think you can create a strong argument of position with? Okay, so those are things to consider. What I'd like you to do is get started on picking your topics, writing your essential questions today. So identify a topic or related topics, consider how they're connected to each other. What interests you most about the relationship between the topics? Construct several essential questions that will focus and guide your research. Remember how to use how and why questions, or construct your questions so that they cannot be answered with a yes or no or obviously simple answer. And remember, your task is to construct an argument that supports your position on the issue. So it's going to have to be something that you have a unique position on and not just regurgitating what you've found, right? Your position is central. In order to ensure your essential question will require complexity and substance to answer it, try combining several topics that appear to be related in an area of focus. For example, race, gender, ethics, medicine, all of those things related to Henrietta Lacks and the situation around her taking her cells. You could talk